Greetings, Flosstube. Today is Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. It is 12:55 p.m. here in the frozen tundra of western Massachusetts. I believe it's actually up to 14 degrees now, which actually feels like a heat wave because it was -6 earlier this morning. Today is my last day of freedom before heading crashing back into the reality of work tomorrow. So I thought I would take a little bit of time and do part one of my 2018 WIP Parade video. I have enough of them that I need to break it up into two separate videos, because if I don't, it'll probably be a 2-hour video and take 36 hours to upload the way my computer goes. So I thought I'd show you half my WIPs now and half later on. And hope everybody had a happy holiday season and that the New Year started off well for you. It was great for us. We went home on the 22nd and visited with my family for Christmas and my in-laws for after Christmas. It's convenient that everybody's in the same state, and we just drove from Richmond to Fairfax. And I just realized back there that picture is crooked. Or is it the camera angle? I'm not sure which. Actually, it's not crooked. It's my camera. Hang on, let me see here. Yeah, my camera is wonky. My little webcam. That's not much better. But anyway, as long as you can see me in my cross stitch. But anyway, like I was saying, we spent Christmas with my family and post-Christmas, pre-New Year's with my in-laws. And we avoided all the crappy weather. I think we probably got 5 inches of snow while we were gone. So that was nice. And of course, when we got back, it was the frigid temperatures, and it's supposed to possibly snow Thursday, major snow. It's coming up from the south, because I saw on my mom's Facebook page, I saw a weather thing posted about tomorrow possibly being bad for them. And usually when our weather comes up from the south, it can really kick our butt. I don't know why that's any different, but usually it comes across from Albany, across the Great Lakes. Like if the Midwest gets the snow, then it hits us. But it tends to be worse. Well, I know exactly why it tends to be worse, because if it's coming from west to east, there's mountains to break it up. But if it's south to north, then there's nothing in the way of it, and it just barrels right on up and kicks our butt. So I don't know, maybe I'll have a day off Thursday, maybe I won't, who knows. But at any rate, this is my last day, so I'm sitting here in my pajamas and my UMass football hoodie that I stole from my husband. Well, he got a new one, so he gave me this one. And he's going to be home from work in a little bit, so I just thought I would start the WIP Parade video now and at least get the first part posted. I went through my WIPs this morning, and I was trying to organize everything, and I have 19 WIPs. And every year since 2014, I have set myself a New Year's cross-stitching goal. Like 2014, it was try new fabric, which was when I started stitching almost exclusively on even weave and linen. And then in 2015, it was try new fibers. 2016, I wanted to try fabrics other than Picture This Plus, because that was kind of the go-to, and I wanted to try some new things. And then last year, my goal was to finish Nutty Parade, because I had been working on that forever and just wanted to get it done. This year, I was trying to think of a goal that I wanted to set for myself, and I realized that I just want to make some progress on what I've already started. You'll see here in a minute, I've got 19 starts in various forms of having had work done on them, so I don't want to let things languish. You know, what's the point of starting everything if you don't finish anything? So progress is good. And you know how some people choose their word of the year, and that's like their theme and their mantra and everything? Well, I guess if I had to choose a word for the year, it would be progress, because I want to see my WIPs get some work done on them, and I'm going to be realistic. I'm probably not going to get anything finished this year, but at least see some progress so that they're not just sitting there, you know, in my pile not being worked on. So without any further ado, this is my primary WIP bag. And actually I say primary because it doesn't hold everything, but I have this and it is quite full. So I'm just going to grab 9 things out of here to show you, and then I'm going to do the rest in the second video. But okay. Now this one is one that, this was my first frosted pumpkin stitchery piece I bought, and it was originally a sale, I think maybe in 2015 or something. It was an older sow that they re-released, and I just could not help it. But the problem is I haven't done much with it. This is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Fruit of the Month Club, and I adore it. That would be so adorable. I don't know. At my age, I probably shouldn't be a sucker for all things kawaii, but I love it when you put little faces on inanimate objects. So I fell in love with that one, and then I started stitching it, and I didn't get that far. Now, I have made a little bit of progress on January. You can see I've got a little bit of the orange done, but that's it. So I think what I'm going to do this year is, like, this month I'm going to continue stitching on the orange, and then in February I'll move over to the grapefruit here, and then I'll go to the kiwi, and I'll just start each fruit every month. And even, I mean, like, I could get probably the kiwi done in March, because, you know, 31 days in March, and that's a small little thing. And then I could probably get the cherries done in April, depending on how busy I am with church. I do know Easter Sunday is April 1st this year, so March is probably going to be the busier month. But, you know, the smaller ones I can probably get them done, if not make a lot of progress. But on the bigger ones, you know, I may not get them finished. But I just want to work on each fruit every month, so that at least by next December I have all 12 at least started. But I just think that's so cute, and I definitely plan to get that one framed and hang it in my kitchen. Although with the work I had to have done in my apartment, I had to relocate the bridal one my mother gave me, and I hung that in the kitchen, so that one took up more wall space than I thought. I'll tell you about that story at some point. But the last couple of months of the year, my apartment was gutted. It looked like a wartime, like, I don't know. It was horrible because I had to have the washer dryer replaced. That took 2.5 months. Then they were trying to fix the ceiling in my bathroom. They had to reschedule that 3 times with the contractors before they ever got their butts here and did it. So yeah, it was kind of bad. So I had to relocate my cross stitch. Oh, my camera just went weird there. Sorry about that, folks. So that's my first WIP that I hope to see some progress on. And like I said, I'll work on it a little bit every month, just to, you know, put each month's fruit in, at least get it started. Now this one you've seen me mention before in one of my videos. This is the Dragon Welcome. That is Joe Gattenby and Jennifer Aikman Smith, which I'm stitching as my goddaughter's birth sampler. And I actually took this with me for Christmas. And I actually got a little bit of stitching done on it when I was with my in-laws. The problem is they're the kind of people who like to sit around in the dark with half the lights off. So I had a real hard time finding a place where I could actually see what I was doing. But when the last I showed it, I had just started the dragon. But I've gotten the dragon's body finished as far as that one page in the pattern goes. And then I started stitching the welcome, and I've got the little dragon, the dragon's egg there for the baby. I'm using the called for DMC, but the welcome I'm stitching in Mo's sale. I bought one of her, what does she call them, like the grab bags that have like 9 or 10 skeins of the gradations of one color, you know, where she almost has, it's like ombre because it starts real pale and gets real dark. I bought a bag of purple thread from her, and purple was the color that was predominantly used in their baby showers, so thought I'd just change out because I don't do blue and pink for babies. I mean, I'm not into all that, you know, let the child choose the gender and whatnot that seems so popular today. But I mean, why pink and blue? Why does pink and blue have to be girl and boy? So, and they used purple in the shower, like I said. So, you know, that made sense to do that color. So this one I actually want to try to have finished by the first part of April, because her birthday is May 11th, and we might be, I don't know if we're going to be going to visit on her birthday or right around her birthday or something, but, you know, I want to get that one done so that I can have that ready for her birthday. So that's my second one. And I'm just pulling these out in random order. I have no plans for a rotation. It was funny because I actually talked to my husband about it, because I was trying to sit and think, okay, do I want to like each week schedule a particular piece, or how do I want to do this? And he made the perfect point, especially for me. He said, well, honey, I know you, and if you have to schedule it out and plan it out and make all these big plans, it's going to be too much like work, and then you're not going to you're not going to have any fun with it. So I've just got my big bag, my WIP bag here, and there will be certain things I work on at certain times. Like a lot of my patriotic stuff I'll try to work on during the Olympics and stuff like that. But I don't have a plan this year except to just work on not start anything new until at least the summer. Because, of course, if I'm going to make ornaments for our church craft fair and whatnot, I'll have to start at some point. But now this is the second hate I purchased. And this is also for my goddaughter's family. Eventually, I just pray they don't have another kid before I get this finished. But this is the mini owl family. And I love, love, love that. Owls are big in their family. CJ's dad loves owls. They're his favorite bird. So I thought, well, that would be a cute tribute to them. Now, you will see with my Hades, I have not made any progress at all. I mean, look at this bag of floss. I probably should have bobinated everything before I started this one, but I started this one in November 8th, actually, last November. And this is all I had. This is literally all I have done of it. It's like 2 rows of the mama owls, or 3 or 4 rows of the mama owl's head. So yeah, that's going to be a long-term WIP in my stash here, but that's one of them I'll work on a little bit this year. All right, number 4. Let me see what we have here. Oh, this is one. This is a Clouds Factory one, and I love this one. And this will go with a couple of my other smaller Clouds Factory ones when I finish them. This one, I was just in some kind of an unholy mood when I started this. I started this November 3rd. Now, I should have already had it done, but, you know, I started it and then I got sidetracked with other things. This is without a doubt one of my favorite Abraham Lincoln quotes. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. A lot of people could live by this. I try to live by this. And I have an internal censor that works pretty good about 50% of the time. But sometimes it's like I can hear myself saying something before I can stop myself. But yes, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. And I'm stitching this on a piece of its, what am I stitching this on? Is it Parfait by Picture This Plus? Yeah, 32 count Parfait, which is kind of, it's a pale yellow with some peachy undertones. And I've gotten a little bit of it done. Just, you know, this is one of those things, and Clouds Factory ones usually don't take that long to stitch, but I started it. I think I was in a mood with something about work, and I was just trying to remind myself, keep your mouth shut, you need your job. So I started it, and then I never went back to it after the situation resolved. So this one will probably be a 2018 finish. I can't see it taking that long. If I actually just sat down and did it for a couple days, I don't think it would be a problem to finish it. But that's a great quote. Oh, and this one is the Lindy Stitches. Emily Dickinson is my homegirl. I actually started this one after I saw the movie A Quiet Passion, which everybody knows from previous videos that movie pissed me off. So I started stitching this one in protest. All I've got is her name banner. And then there's another banner, Dickinson, and then it's the silhouette, like the old-fashioned silhouette, and it says, "Is my homegirl" across the bottom. I don't usually stitch a pattern more than once, any more than I read a book more than once, because there's so much I want to do. I don't want to take the time to repeat myself. But this one might be the only one I would ever stitch a second time, because I would stitch it for my framers, because their shop is right across the street from the Dickinson homestead, and the name Hope and Feathers comes from one of her poems. So, and they're on the corner of Dickinson and Maine. So that one would be one that I could stitch as a thank you gift for all the hard work my framers put in for me. So that one might be the only one I'll ever consider stitching twice. But that's what I want to finish this year. All right, I'm just going to grab a random thing here. What is this? Oh, this is my robot sampler, which came from, let me see, I wrote it down here, because I'm actually trying to keep track of how much time I put in on this one. This came from the World of Cross Stitching Magazine, Volume 224, which I believe was a 2015 magazine, and I can show you. I didn't keep the magazine because this was the only reason I bought it. And you know how in like the World of Cross Stitching and those magazines, they put the little preview page at the end? Well, I saw this pattern previewed in the previous month's magazine, and of course with it being a British magazine, I didn't know when it was going to arrive, but I absolutely adore vintage robots. So I stalked the living heck out of my Barnes & Noble for several weeks just to find the magazine just for this pattern. So I actually stitched on this a little bit on New Year's Eve, just because I randomly pulled it out of my stash. Oh, I wish my phone would stop beeping. The annoying thing about it is I have an email app on my phone, so every time I get an email, it beeps at me, and it's like, you know, I don't check my email every day. Good Lord, I got home from Christmas and I had 450 some odd emails, so yeah, I kind of wish I hadn't, but whatever. So there's what I've gotten done. I like the little blue guy in the center, and the one on the left I worked on a little bit on New Year's Eve. So, and this is a piece of 32 count country mocha linen, and I know I bought it at Salty Yarns, but I do not remember the brand. It was just, and I don't think it necessarily had the brand on it, because you know how when you buy some fabrics at Salty Yarns, those of you who live in Maryland or have been there, you know how they just have the fabric in bags and they don't necessarily have specific companies' fabrics. Although Salty Yarns is where I began my addiction to Picture This Plus fabric, but I haven't been to Ocean City in, well, since 2015. So, because we started going to Hilton Head in 2016. So I haven't been back, but they were the company that, they're the little shop that's responsible for my addiction to Picture This Plus fabric. So that's another one. That's a fun one. I love vintage robots, so that one was right up my alley. Now this one, now don't ask me why. These next two are ones that I started right before Christmas. Now don't ask me why. When I knew I already had 17 WIPs that I wanted to work on, don't ask me why I got a wild hair to start anything new, but I did. Actually, these next three were ones I started at Christmas. And yeah, well, next, the first Saturday in December is always our church craft fair. And I wanted to make something that I could donate. I will get this framed, but not in my custom framers. I'll get it framed at Michael's because I don't see the need to spend custom framing money on something that's only going to sell for maybe 20 bucks. But I wanted to make something that I could donate that could make a little bit of money for the church. And I've forgotten why I was on 123 Stitch, but I saw this and I absolutely fell in love with it. Now I will say I'm going to have a hard time giving this one away, and this one could be the second one that I would stitch twice. This is the Imaginating Bethlehem Nativity Scene. And I have done an imaginating pattern before. I think the one that I did years ago, maybe like back in 2007, it was a Santa. It was like a monochrome Santa. I think that was an imaginating pattern, but I didn't feel like digging through my stash to try to see if it was. But what I love most about this one, and I don't know if you can see it very well because, you know, my lighting in here sucks. But what I like is it's almost like a CC stitching, because if you can see here, like the hillside and the buildings and then the little animals, they're all created by the negative space. And a CC stitching is where the negative space creates the picture, because you're actually stitching like, you're stitching the background and you're not stitching the actual shapes. The only actual shapes you're stitching are over here in the manger, and the tree, a couple of the trees. But maybe you can see better what I'm talking about. This, I started this one. When did I start this? I usually write it in the pattern when I started it. I didn't. But I think I started this one on the 21st. I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to put that in here because I started this one and the other one before we left. And this is a piece of 32 count light sand linen from Nordic Needle that I had bought a fat quarter of. Now, I don't know how to describe what I did. I didn't need a full fat quarter, but I needed the length for a fat eighth. Because you know, normally when you buy a fat eighth of fabric, it's a half of a fat quarter. So it's usually cut on the short side. Well, this time I took the fat quarter and cut it down the long side, because this piece, when it's finished, it's only 3 inches tall, but it's 20 inches long. So I had to cut the fat half on the long side, which is not usually the way you see a fat eighth cut, but this is technically a fat eighth of fabric. It's just going down the other side. And there's what I've gotten done. I'm using DMC 3847, which is a dark teal. And if you can see what I mean about the Assisi stitching, like the door there, the door isn't formed by stitches, it's formed by the negative space. So, yeah, this one I'm going to have a hard time parting with, because I just absolutely love it. And I love stitching monochrome pieces because to me they just work up faster, and especially something like this that doesn't have any back stitching. I mean, the shape of the building came out, and then the trees, and then I'll eventually stitch the bottom part of the hill here, and then it'll all start taking shape. And I just like how pieces like this tend to come to life. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to do this one for the craft fair next year. But yeah, I had to cut the fabric wonky because I needed the length, not the width. So if that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but I had a fat quarter of this and chopped it in half down the middle. But anyway, so yeah, I started that one on the 21st. And like I said, this one and the next two, I don't know why I started them, because I didn't need any new starts, but I just got a wild hair to stitch some holiday stuff, because usually I don't stitch holiday-oriented things. And I don't know why. I just usually don't. It's not a thing for me. But, and especially like Halloween stuff and all that. I mean, there's some cute Halloween things out there, but I've just never really gotten into stitching holiday stuff. And I guess it's to me because I wouldn't necessarily leave holiday stuff out year round. I wouldn't necessarily not. And like I said, I've never had holiday stuff stitched before, so I don't know. I don't know if I would leave it. I guess I would, depending on what it was. But this one I'm actually making for my minister because it's her favorite Bible passage. And those of you who are on Stitch Mania or follow my Instagram have seen the progress I made on this over the holidays. This is a half of a fat eighth, so that makes it, what, a fat 16th of Picture This Plus Carnival, which is kind of a peachy pink, but it's very pale and there's not a lot of color to it, which is why I liked it for this piece. It's the Lizzie Kate snippet, We Walk by Faith, Not by Sight. Oh, which reminds me, while I was on vacation, I ordered another 3 snippets, which I'll show you in a minute, but I'm just like, really, why did I do that? Because I'm thinking I might make a couple of the snippets for the craft fair too, depending on how much I get done on the nativity scene. But anyway, that's her favorite Bible passage. And I've been wanting to stitch this one for her for a while. So there's that. And before I left, I had the By Faith and the flower petals on the tulip stitched. And then on the plane on the way down, I finished stitching the flower stem and that little green diamond pattern in the middle. And then while I was home, I got Not By Sight done. And then when I was with Bill's parents, I got the stitching around Not By, and then the bottom border started. So, and I actually worked on the bottom border on the plane in the airport on the way home. So that one won't take long to finish. But I need to remember when my minister's birthday is before I can have that be her birthday present. But yeah, that's kind of things we think about. So that technically isn't a Christmas one, but I started it over Christmas. But that one will be my first finish in the new year. So that one I'll just put, I probably could finish it in a couple of days if I just sat down and focused on it. But yeah, why I started that one at the end of 2017 is beyond me. Now, this was the piece I was talking about that got a wild hair under me to stitch. And I just absolutely have no clue why. Except it's more kawaii. It's Christmas stuff. And it's the old Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Winter Wonderland sampler. And I think at one point this was a Sal too. I mean, how could you not? It's a kawaii cider mug and hot cocoa and a kawaii stocking, and I love the Christmas light bulb. And the Christmas pickle. I mean, come on. You got to love a kawaii Christmas pickle, right? So I started that one. I don't think I wrote down when I started this one. I try to do that because I like to keep track of when I start and finish things. I don't remember exactly when I started this. Oh, started 12/9. Okay. This was the weekend that Bill had to work the first recruiting weekend, and it snowed. And of course, we had kids from Florida we were trying to impress. Hey, you know, I mean, like Bill says, the very first recruiting weekend of the winter, it always snows, but it's good for those kids to see what they're getting into if they come to UMass. So I got the first and second day done. And what fabric am I using? I'm using a piece of, well, let's picture this plus. It's either Masquerade, which was the one, I think it's Masquerade, the one which I'm stitching the Mirabilia Leilani, the hula girl on. But you can see the little snow globe and the owl if I hold it in the camera the right direction. Where is it? I'm covering it up with my hand. I swear I'm so bad with this filming thing. So there's that. So that's all I wanted to show you for this video. This video is already coming in at 26.5 minutes long. So I will just sign off here. I wish all my followers, old and new, very happy and prosperous 2018. And I will be back in a little while with the second part of this video. And I hope you had a wonderful holiday, whatever you choose to celebrate. And I hope that you have the best 2018 you can possibly have. And that the frog stay is really far away from you, and that the stitching fairies of goodness, whatever that means, bless you and your projects in the coming year. Bye for now. I'll talk to you soon.